This is the CBS Evening News. Bob Schieffer sitting in tonight for Dan Rather. Good evening. The drug war in Colombia dominates the news again tonight. 7 bombs apparently set off by drug lords were set off, 6 of them in the drug capital of Medellin, 1 in the government capital of Bogota. No one hurt in any of the blasts, but there was considerable damage. Because of where it happened, the bombing in Bogota was the most frightening. Mark Phillips reports.
The drug cartel's reign of terror came closer to home early this morning, a bomb blast in Bogota, the first time the drug lords have hit the capital since the current government crackdown began. It was only a travel agency and no one was injured, but the message was clear. The cartels can and will hit anywhere, particularly if the government goes ahead with the extradition of Eduardo Martinez Romero, the accused drug money launderer wanted for trial in the U.S. The Colombians allowed reporters to see their prisoner again after rumors he had escaped. There was a peace offering of sorts from one of the cartel families today. Fabio Ochoa, the father of 2 of the drug lords wanted in the U.S. but still at large, Jorge Ochoa and Fabio Ochoa Vasquez, sent a letter to Colombian President Barco. The letter called for an end to the bloodletting in our dear Colombia. No more drug trafficking, it said. No more assassinations, no more bombs. An offer rejected by Colombia's justice minister in Washington.
They have been asking for negotiations for a long time now. The government, President Barco, has said that this is not a moment for negotiation.
It's the moment, it seems, for continuing the pressure on the cartels. The army has announced the capture of another cartel moneyman, Abraham Mahut, and the time for releasing more information on just how formidable the drug runners' forces are. An internal government security document here states that cartel leader Gonzalo Rodriguez Gacha did pay for assassination squads that were trained by 5 Israeli and 11 British mercenaries. The Israelis had claimed they were working for Colombian farmers fearful of left-wing guerrillas.
What they want are people who can quickly and efficiently train their people, Colombians whom they've recruited, to do their dirty work for them. And that is the activity which these mercenaries do and which they're crucial for to the criminals.
In Israel today, 2 more Army Reserve officers involved in the training were called in for questioning. The test of the Colombian government's resolve in the current crackdown will be whether any of the accused cartel members are actually extradited. U.S. justice officials are concerned the Colombians may wait for a court ruling here before allowing any extradition, and that could take a week. Mark Phillips, CBS News, Bogota.
President Bush took time out from his vacation today to deal with the steadily escalating drug war. He met with cabinet officials and mapped out some new plans. Wyatt Andrews now reports from the vacation White House in Kennebunkport.
The crisis in Colombia forced President Bush and his top drug policy advisors to make changes today in the national drug strategy Mr. Bush will announce next week. The bottom line, U.S. officials say, will be more money for Colombia and other drug-plagued nations.
It's being worked out now, the details, but we will cooperate with Colombia to the best of our ability.
And the requests from Colombia's leaders keep growing. Justice Minister de Graef's new request today, another $19 million worth of protective services, armored cars and bodyguard training for Colombia's besieged judiciary.
Okay, we have asked the United States for more support, not only in words, but resources.
By all accounts, the United States is about to say yes. The president's drug plan includes at least $300 million for what he calls the Andean strategy. That's new aid for Bolivia and Peru, where most coca is grown, and more help for Colombia, through which 80% of America's cocaine is funneled. The question is, how should the $300 million be parceled out?
But one of the reasons for this meeting is that Colombia is a new ingredient in the overall strategy.
Still, new aid to Colombia can only add to a drug war price tag already set at $8 billion. And congressional leaders want to know what Mr. Bush plans to cut to pay that bill, especially with the no new taxes pledge still in place.
Drugs, we're going to see that there's a meaningful program, not just talk. So far the president's been all talk and has been opposed to any meaningful funding of the drug program.
Have you figured out yet how you're going to pay for this?
I'm not going to comment on that either.
Whatever the amount of aid, both countries today stressed the need to get moving. Colombia asked the U.S. to speed the airlift of military supplies, while the U.S. rushed to accommodate what it sees as a rare moment of Colombian resolve. Wyatt Andrews, CBS News, Kennebunkport.
In Washington, Senate Judiciary Committee Chairman Joe Biden said that he's canceling a hearing tomorrow on Colombia for safety reasons. He said the Justice Department fears publicity generated by the hearing could endanger lives in Colombia. Florida's Governor Bob Martinez had extra security today because of threats of violence from drug lords. He's been pushing for the extradition of 25 Florida drug fugitives from Colombia. He was given additional security agents after Colombian drug lords warned that there could be political assassinations in this country. On the West Coast, there was evidence today of that area's importance in smuggling cocaine from Colombia, and Jerry Bowen reports.
Trying to underscore California's growing stake in the nation's war on cocaine and the need for more federal help, state law enforcement officials put a former smuggler on display today to testify that the Colombian cartels have moved west.
In 1985, I started losing business to the West Coast.
The mystery witness, hidden by a screen, his voice altered electronically, said heavy federal enforcement in South Florida forced cocaine traffickers to use smuggling corridors through Mexico, one case involving a long-range jet.
They were planning of landing somewhere in the California desert and then transferring the code by helicopter to a tall building which I believe was in the Los Angeles area.
One unusual barometer of the drug traffic is the cash surplus at Federal Reserve banks. Much of that surplus due to cocaine sales, according to federal officials. The Los Angeles surplus has soared as Miami's has begun to decline.
We have traditionally been the major consumer. What is relatively new is the fact that we have become the major transshipment point.
The complaint is that the kind of federal effort that snared more than 3,000 pounds of cocaine off Florida recently is desperately needed throughout the Southwest and West, say state officials, if the administration is serious about this war.
Any strategy that doesn't recognize that is really doomed at the outset, I think.
There has to be a realization that the problem is growing to such a degree throughout the country that we can't suddenly reallocate resources from one area and put them in another.
And if it's a struggle here, what of the very real war underway against the cartels in Colombia?
They're going to fight a war because, number one, they don't want to be extradited. They want to live at a place where they are considered God.
But with more federal help, argue California officials, even some of Colombia's drug lords could be brought down to earth. Jerry Bowen, CBS News, Los Angeles.
The National Football League today named names in its long-anticipated crackdown on the use of steroids. The list of 13 players from 8 teams included few well-known players. The action came in the face of opposition from the players' union, which disputes the accuracy of the testing. Betsy Aaron reports.
Maurice Douglas, a second-string defensive back for the Chicago Bears, got the word from the NFL this morning and left training camp. Victim of the NFL's first ever sanction against players for using anabolic steroids. The first time any professional athletes have been penalized for using strength-enhancing drugs. After all the testing, what the NFL is saying is that these men, representing less than 2% of its active roster of 1,600 players, tested positive for steroids. It's a figure many believe is far too low.
I feel very safe to say that the majority of the linemen, linebackers, tight ends are doing it, and you know, probably some defensive backs and running backs are doing it now too.
If the use of steroids are so pervasive in the NFL, until a player is actually banned rather than suspended for a month, that the risk will be worthwhile to prolong your career.
After all the controversy over steroids, after all the medical warnings, the prevailing attitude among some athletes seems to be you have to use steroids to win.
When a professional football player knows that the people he's going to be going up against every Sunday afternoon are using anabolic steroids to enhance their performance, they're going to have to do that in order to perform on the same level.
The players knew about the testing, knew the penalties for getting caught, and also knew that it's often easy to hide evidence of steroid use.
Every time you watch a game, you have to wonder if the players are being propelled by chemicals or by their skills that they've developed over time.
The testing will continue throughout the season, And the players who insist the testing is arbitrary and unfair will continue their efforts to stop it. Betsy Aaron, CBS News, New York.
And still ahead on tonight's CBS Evening News, Bob McNamara on efforts to save New Mexico's 400-year-old Churches of the Earth. And David Dow on Voyager's fantastic farewell to the planets.
Your mouth. We've studied your mouth from every angle and created a toothbrush with a very special angle, the Reach toothbrush. The Reach toothbrush was designed with a unique dental angle to clean even hard-to-reach back teeth, to get your teeth 51% cleaner than the other leading brush. The Reach toothbrush from Johnson & Johnson for 51% cleaner teeth.
Il me prend dans ses bras, il me parle tout bas, je vois la vie en rose.
Some love the night, but he preferred the dawn. For how could sleepers know the taste of hot croissant and coffee? The richest coffee I'd ever tasted.
Discover the pleasure of rich French roast, new from Maxwell House. Rich French roast coffee. We can't give you France, but we'll give you the flavor.
Life without cholesterol. Is there? Give up the best things in life. What's left?
Introducing new Miracle Whip cholesterol-free dressing. Now the best things in life are cholesterol-free.
Thank you!
Subaru apologizes to the residents of Casa Grande, Arizona for driving the new Subaru Legacy 60,000 miles in 19 days for a new world record. If you're listening, Casa Grande, thank you.
There were more spectacular pictures today of the planet Neptune and its moon Triton. They were made public as the scientists connected with the Voyager 2 project held their last news conference. David Dow reports.
Voyager dissected it, and scientists today began assembling in breathtaking mosaic the cold, complex world of Triton, Neptune's largest moon. It is a world billions of years old, glistening in minute detail, nearly 3 billion miles from the sun.
At this range, however, the shadows are needle sharp.
Using computers, scientists have begun a relief map showing icy ridges 3,000 feet high.
So if you thought you liked that, well, that's not all, folks.
In fact, analysts have even composed a musical tour of Triton, a meandering look at a place thought to be 60% rock, the rest ice. A moon a little smaller than our own moon, but much more varied. Researchers also used computer magic to track Neptune's great dark spot. Viewed in time-lapse from the South Pole, it becomes the mild, wobbly hurricane they suspected. The latest picture show came at a final emotional press conference by Voyager scientists after 12 years and 4 planetary encounters.
Without any question, for those of us fortunate enough to have been involved, this has been a journey of a lifetime.
Scientists now hope that in coming years, Voyager 2 and a companion spacecraft will tell them where the sun's influence ends and interstellar space begins, before flying off endlessly.
We've actually mapped the flight paths of both Voyagers 1 million years into the future. And you'll be happy to hear they don't run into any stars.
Today, scientists revealed a parting shot from Voyager as it left Neptune and Triton, its final planetary rendezvous.
This was Voyager's farewell to us, and it's our farewell to you.
David Dow, CBS News, Pasadena.
The space shuttle Atlantis was moved early today to its launch pad at Cape Canaveral. The Atlantis is scheduled to lift off on October 12th for a mission to send a nuclear-powered space probe to Jupiter.
When my arthritis pain acts up, even little things are a big effort. But I don't take aspirin anymore. I take Advil. Advil is the brand many doctors recommend for hours of relief from minor arthritis pain. You know, just one Advil is as effective as 2 regular aspirin. And Advil doesn't upset my stomach the way aspirin sometimes can. So now, I don't even have to think about arthritis. Advil, tablets and caplets, advanced medicine for pain.
Last year, 6 million people bought a refrigerator 1 year too soon. Introducing the new refrigerator from Maytag. Buy one now, and if it's not working by the year 2000, we'll buy it back. See your Maytag dealer for details. See a Maytag repairman in our commercials. The new refrigerator from Maytag. The dependability people.
Denture Wares. It's the fresh mouth with fresh news. New Super Strength Pollen now controls tartar for a better clean and freshens up dentures with a minty mouthwash ingredient. Try new Pollen Green, a better mouth freshening clean.
I eat nutritious meals with plenty of fruit and vegetables, so how come I'm the one with painful gas?
Surprise! Foods high in nutrition are often high in gas. But Gas X gets rid of the gas, so you feel better fast. Eat right and feel right with Gas X.
The Iranian parliament handed President Rafsanjani a major victory today, and that could mean good news for the hostages in Lebanon. In voting to approve Rafsanjani's entire cabinet, Parliament backed his decision to drop hardline Interior Minister Moussa Shimi, the leading supporter of Lebanon's Hezbollah terrorist group, which is believed to be holding most of the hostages. In Lebanon's civil war, shell fire, possibly from a Syrian gunboat, struck a gasoline tanker. The tanker exploded into flames and killed at least 9 crewmen. We have more on this now and on new efforts to stop the fighting from Martha Teichner in London.
Syria scored a big one by blowing up the Sun Shield overnight, a blockade runner loaded with 500,000 gallons of precious gasoline. The Syrians took another hack at Christian Lebanon's lifeline, its supply route from the sea. While the 5.5-month siege continued, today French diplomats shuttled from Damascus to Beirut with their newly announced peace plan.
We are heading either into a tragedy or into a settlement, but a status quo is not feasible anymore.
With French warships cruising off the coast of Lebanon, any talk of a French-brokered peace settlement is being met with suspicion. The UN's call for a ceasefire 2 weeks ago has produced a regular parade of would-be peacemakers between Damascus and Lebanese Christian leader General Aoun's underground bunker outside Beirut. In addition to the French, representatives of the European Community and the Arab League. The Soviets are the latest to join the procession.
The Soviet government is deeply preoccupied with the tragedy of the Lebanese people.
The failure of the diplomatic process so far is evident on the streets of Beirut, a city that is becoming more of a ruin every day.
I would say that, that all the parties are not quite ready yet for a compromise. There's still too much fight left in all of them.
The price of that fight is being paid by the people of Beirut, hundreds of thousands of them who have fled their homes, and by the people who have made it their business to keep Christian Lebanon's cause alive against the odds. Last Friday, when these pictures were taken, the captain of the Sun Shield had just run the Syrian blockade, he claimed, for the 70th time. But last night, he didn't make it. He was one of the dead, trapped inside the flaming hull. Martha Teichner, CBS News, London.
The State Department reports that the U.S. ambassador to Bulgaria has been recalled for consultation. A spokesman said Ambassador Saul Polanski was called home to protest Bulgaria's repression of ethnic Turks. The State Department charges Bulgaria is determined to erase the cultural identity of its Turkish minority. In Greece, files on nearly 17 million Greeks, which have been compiled by security forces, were set afire today. The coalition government ordered the files destroyed as a symbolic act of reconciliation between political parties of the left and right. It was 40 years ago tomorrow that Greece's civil war ended, with the communists defeated by U.S.-backed government forces.
Constipation is disaster, and that's the honest truth.
Jean Wright talks about constipation and Dulcolax laxatives.
I can depend on Dulcolax because it takes care of my constipation problems in a gentle, easy way. My doctor suggested that I try Dulcolax, and I did, and I was very happy.
Dulcolax suppositories can work in 15 minutes to 1 hour. Dulcolax tablets predictably overnight.
I wake up in the morning, and I get complete relief. Dulcolax brightens my day.
There's a motor oil that says it's engineered for today's smaller cars, like sports cars. But is that motor oil the first choice of the members of the Sports Car Club of America? No. Valvoline is the first choice of the members of the Sports Car Club of America. Valvoline makes the highest quality motor oil recommended by any automobile manufacturer. People who know use Valvoline.
Today's Tuesday. Started moving yesterday, and my arthritis pain acted up. More pain today. Took aspirin both days.
If you take aspirin often, make it tri-buffered Bufferin. 100% aspirin, plus 3 buffers. Bufferin, if you take aspirin more than once a week.
Great view.
Great streak on your side.
Not my side. I'm using Windex with ammonia D. It doesn't streak.
Well, I'm using this.
Aha, no ammonia D.
There's the streak.
See why I trust Windex?
That's streak-free Windex Shine. Depend on it.
In the trial of TV evangelist Jim Bakker today, there were allegations the Bakker's monthly electric bill sometimes ran up to $2,000 because the swimming pool was kept heated to 90 degrees, and that Bakker once spent $105,000 just to fly clothing and other belongings cross-country on a private jet. We have more on today's revelations from Bruce Hall.
In a packed North Carolina courtroom, former aide David Taggart said Jim Bakker complained that he lived a shabby life compared to fellow evangelists while continuing to accept millions in bonuses and other compensation. In an attempt to downplay Bakker's lavish lifestyle, defense attorneys asked Taggart if Bakker voted against or left the room every time the board of directors considered a bonus for him. Taggart's answer, yes. But prosecutors in redirect examination asked, did Jim Bakker ever refuse or turn back any of those bonuses once they were approved? Taggart, not that I am aware of. Those bonuses for Bakker and his wife Tammy totaled more than $3 million.
I think it set the wrong tone for the organization. In addition to being a cash drain on the organization, it set a lavish, opulent lifestyle that PTL really couldn't afford.
In court, the government continues to portray Bakker's PTL empire as a kingdom of excess, with the evangelist and his family living like royalty.
Probably 99%, or at least 95% of what you hear about Jim and Tammy Bakker and PTL and Heritage USA these next few weeks is going to be nothing but lies or things taken out of context made to look like something that it wasn't.
A judge's order prevents Bakker from talking about the trial, but leaving court today, Bakker made it clear who owns the expensive car he has been taking to and from the courthouse.
By the way, this is my lawyer's car.
Bruce Hall, CBS News, Charlotte.
In revised figures released today, the government reported the economy in the second quarter expanded at an annual rate of 2.7%. That is much faster than previously believed and makes a recession less likely.
It's allergy time again. When little things can cause big misery. It's time to get the big relief of Dimetap Extend Tabs. A 12-hour allergy medicine. Dimetap is recommended millions of times by doctors and pharmacists. Dimetap, it gets things back to normal.
Dear Malox, my daughter's date's giving me Malox moments.
Hey, I'm here!
Last night was a real doozy. What a Malox moment. My stomach did flip-flops. Good thing Extra Strength Malox Plus is so strong. My doctor recommended it, and it's the strongest antacid I can buy. With teenagers, Malox is a must.
Nice house.
Nice earring. Write us about your Malox moments. Extra Strength Malox Plus. Strong relief for all your Malox moments.
When your coffee's rich enough for all working day long and it tastes your way, it's necessarily Nescafe.
Great coffee blends to taste your way. That's necessarily Nescafe.
Butterball turkey cold cuts. Any way you slice it, they're delicious. Butterball ham, Butterball bologna, or Butterball smoked turkey breast. They're up to 98% fat-free and all Butterball. So any way you slice it, it's
delicious.
In most rural areas of the country, rain's a welcome event, but that has not been the case this summer in the deserts of New Mexico, where more rain than usual has posed a new threat to what could be a disappearing national treasure, the Spanish missions that have become so much a part of the southwestern landscape. Bob McNamara has our report.
They are the glories of New Mexico, the centuries-old adobe missions, churches like none others in America. Churches of the earth.
It just looks like they just emerged from the earth like a mesa or a butte, solid, like it's meant to last for centuries.
In remote Sangre de Cristo mountain villages, there are still more than 300 adobes of God. Some galleries of priceless folk art, treasuries of a Spanish legacy of faith 400 years old. But time is taking a toll.
Unfortunately, in the last 5 years, we've lost 2 or 3 of some of our most magnificent missions because they collapsed. We just didn't know how and didn't have the wherewithal by which to preserve them.
Today, the Church of St. Thomas the Apostle in tiny Abacu wears the wounds of weather, plaster peeling away, its exposed beams rotting. It's another rescue mission for Father Jerome Martinez of Santa Fe's Archdiocese.
No, I think our first priority is to try and stabilize the situation right here.
Tending the troubles of northern New Mexico's historic adobe churches is Father Martinez's toughest ministry yet. And with many parishes now too small and too poor to pay for repairs themselves, the Archdiocese is poverty-stricken too.
There are times where we just have to throw our hands up and say, we can't help you. We'd like to, but we can't help you.
En el nombre del Padre.
But whether to save souls or historic structures, that's a dilemma of the parish priest.
We need to look at, at the young people. We need to look at alcoholism, all kinds of problems that exist in all of our parishes. So they're going to have to make some tough decisions.
They are mysteries of shadow and light, as beautiful as they are delicate. But an unseasonable summer of rain has been harsh on the shrines.
When an adobe gets wet, it's like an Oreo cookie in milk.
Adobe, little more than lots of dirt and water mixed with straw and sweat, but still applied the way it was in the 17th century at the Church of San Jose de Gracia in Las Trampas. The devotion of care handed down for ages.
I think it's the faith that we have. Families, like my parents, grandparents, and all they've been in charge of this, and it'll be passed on to my son and all the rest of the kids.
Though some churches rely on tourists and New Mexico's Community Foundation for survival, it is only the foundations of faith that can save them now.
We're not in the business of keeping open museums. If it came to that, we'd rather let the church go back to the earth from where it came.
In a land once a valley of tears, these were harbors of hope. But closing one by one, the concern for the adobes of amazing grace deepens to a mission of saving grace before it's too late. Bob McNamara, CBS News, Taos, New Mexico.
That's the news. Bob Schieffer for Dan Rather. Good night.
This is coming up on News Channel 5's 6 o'clock report, a court hearing.